Good evening, good evening. Okay, I would like to make a video response to a few questions I've received over on YouTube. Let's see here. I don't know the name, so I'll just go ahead and read them. The first one, I think it was "Listen Up" was the title. So listen up. Why don't you learn Sanskrit, which is supposed to be the most sophisticated language in the world? Sanskrit, actually, I don't know. I've been interested. I think before when I was taking classes, I remember them. Yeah, they were offering a Sanskrit class. I was very close to taking that course with a buddy, but I had decided to just go ahead and do Farsi instead. So I'm definitely interested in learning Sanskrit. The only thing about Sanskrit is I was told that the language is not really spoken that much, so that kind of turned me off a little bit, because I love trying to speak the language with the native speakers, just to practice. It's just really good. But I mean, I'm still interested in learning a language like that, just not at this time. Okay, next question. Why don't you try to learn the Esperanto? Just like Sanskrit, I wasn't really interested in it. Like, I didn't really have that much interest in learning Esperanto, but these days I've been seeing a lot of resources for this language, so I can definitely see myself learning this language in the future. Just right now, I have my active languages I'm working on, and as far as passive, I'll have to see what I can find for Esperanto. Let's see. Also, why don't you delve into English more deeply? You don't seem to have a good vocabulary compared to people that actually study English. Okay, this is a very good question. Now we have to look at let's start from the beginning here, like just English language learners. Okay, this can be like foreigners from different countries, or just could be native speakers of English, but they decided to take their studies further as far as learning about the English language, because most of the time they want to become English professors in the university, or just an English teacher in high school. You have to have like an English degree to do stuff like that. So motivation is very important when it comes to language learning. This is a very basic concept that every language learner should know. If you don't have motivation or passion, then you're not going to do it. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. It doesn't matter what type of family you came from. If you don't have motivation, then you just won't do it. And I think everyone in the world can relate to each other. No matter what differences we have, we can all relate to each other when it comes to this, motivation. Very important. So when someone is motivated for language learning, they really want to do it. They put all of their effort, a lot of effort, into learning that language. They're awareness. They're very aware when they're learning the language. For example, if I'm a learner of the English language, I want to increase my vocabulary. I'm very aware of what I'm hearing, what I'm listening to, and what I'm reading. And when I'm reading things, I will tend to underline words that I've never seen before, or I don't understand, and I'll look those words up, and then I'll eventually see those words again, perhaps further in the book or in another book. So this is when people are aware, this is what happens. But again, this takes a lot of effort and motivation for someone to do something like this. A lot of the times when you have people that, when they speak very well, you also have to look at this. When they speak English very well, like high vocabulary and whatnot, they also come from a family where like both parents, they have a high education. They treasure education, and they pass this down to their children. Their parents like to read. They just like learning in general, and this gets passed down to the children. So when the children get older, then they take on this interest like their parents did. They further their education. Now you do have some exceptions, but a lot of the times this is what happens. So you have to look at the family, the background where people came from. So yep, that's one side of it. Now the people who don't like have the motivation, they tend to be content where they are. They don't have the motivation. For example, there's been a lot of debate going on one of my videos is Russians in Estonia. A lot of people criticize the Russians over in Estonia for not learning Estonian language. They say that, well, these Russians been living here for many years and they still can't speak Estonian. It's terrible. But they fail to realize that there's a bigger picture. It's so important to look at the bigger picture of things. The Russians over there, and I'm sure they do have some Russians that speak Estonian, but a lot of the times they don't have the motivation to learn. It goes right back to motivation. The main concept, the basic concept of this whole thing is motivation. They don't have the motivation to learn. So if they don't have the motivation and they can get by, perhaps they have some communities, Russian communities, they can get by just from having that. Why should they try to learn that language? If they don't have the motivation, why should they even try? So that's another thing. Those people, they don't have the motivation to learn. Another place, this in America, you have the Spanish, the native Spanish speakers. A lot of people criticize the Spanish speakers for not learning English. They criticize them, say, well, they've been living here for years. Why don't they learn English? Because they had, like the Russians, they don't have motivation, or anybody else who don't, learn languages. They don't have the motivation, and they're able to get by in their own communities. So that's why they don't learn English or improve their English vocabulary or whatnot. So that's just looking at both sides, looking at the bigger picture. And again, I forgot to mention the family. You have to look at the background. Their family probably wasn't highly educated. They didn't really care about it. So, like I said, that gets passed down to the children. And again, you do have exceptions. A lot of the people who come from those type of backgrounds, they look at their situation and they say, you know what, I want to make an improvement here. I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to take education seriously. I want to do better for my life. This is what happens in those for those exceptional children. Okay, so that's looking at the whole picture of things. Now, for me, you asking me why, why don't I delve into the English more deeply? Well, that's the thing, the motivation. Like when I first started learning like foreign languages, I didn't really consider learning English. I just wanted to learn Chinese, wanted to try it out. I didn't have any plans on trying to further the English language because at that time, I think I was about 18, 17. I'm a native speaker. I'm thinking I'm a native speaker of English. Why should I learn English? Why should I? What's the point when I'm already able to speak English, when I'm already able to communicate? So, having that type of mentality, that's what happens, So, that's why I didn't really consider trying to improve vocabulary. Now, recently, I guess I'll say like maybe a year ago or something like that, or I started to think about improving my vocabulary in English. This was just recent. Start reading more and start being aware of what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, and look words up. I've been doing that a lot lately. I've been looking up a lot of English words that I've never seen before. I'm starting to become more aware of this because why? Because I want to. I'm motivated to do this. So that's why for all those years I haven't had the motivation to try to improve vocabulary. So I just wanted to make this video response to this person here. These are good questions to just keep in mind, and it's very important to when you ask yourself questions, you have to kind of look at the whole picture. Think, well, okay, maybe this is why this is going on. Maybe, okay, there's always a bigger picture to things. There's not just one side. There are two sides of the coin, always. Okay, So that's it for this video. I just wanted to make this video response. If you have any other questions for me, let me know, and I will be happy to answer them for you. Thanks for viewing.